that was the Mind Over Movies theme song composed by Devin Savoy. Thank you for listening today. This is Mind Over Movies. I'm Isaac.
And I'm Casey.
And today we're going to be having an exciting discussion about the Batman and going into full spoilers.
Yes.
You're going to want to stick around to find out what we have to say about that, but that's coming up later in the hour.
Yeah. Before that, we're going to discuss over our 2 weeks that we've been away. We're going to discuss the films that we have seen, digested. We're going to go over those, maybe some analyses of a couple of those. Yeah, and then after that, we'll get into the Batman stuff, and then we'll do our normal outro, maybe with a funny skit at the end.
Wow, that sounds like a mighty good itinerary.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Casey, what kind of movies did you watch while we were gone?
So, aside from the obvious one, I caught Chloe Zhao's newest Eternals.
Oh my gosh, a masterpiece of modern film. How did you feel about it?
It was shit. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it was. It's like, it's not as bad as like I thought it was gonna be, but it's still just like, it just like wasted my time so much that I was like, yeah, 2 stars. Like, fuck this.
It was really confusing to like give it a rating because like you know there's like so much like technical mastery on display that like I feel like Chloe Zhao is definitely like one of the better directors to have made a Marvel movie.
Right. It's
just like what the movie is such a fucking mess and like not good. I mean, like, I want to admire it because it's not like other Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's not.
But in fact, though, it is worse.
Yeah.
It's like bad.
That's the paradigm that I'm in because it's like, oh, I really want to like this because it is different. It's like, it is truly different than every other Marvel project. It doesn't feel like a Marvel project. It's you know, it's
other than like the Bollywood guy,
right?
That guy feels like Marvel written all over him. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we love him because he's quirky and different and he's normal, but he's hanging out with those not normal guys.
Yeah. Yeah. With the exception of that, it felt very different. And honestly, the climax is the best use of CGI with the Eternal coming out of the of the Earth. But like, if it wasn't for the fact that they overused CGI in the rest of the movie, I think that would have looked even more impressive.
Well, tell me why the fuck like the main monsters like the
Deviants?
Yeah, the Deviants. They look like so PlayStation 2, but anytime it cuts to like the big like Celestials, those shots are like the best VFX work in like years.
I know, the Celestials look fucking amazing, especially at the end when it's coming out of the ocean. Like that scale, like the scale of that was amazing and it looked great. And oh my god, you got a new TV.
Yeah, I did. Oh my gosh, have you not noticed it?
No, I didn't notice it.
Wow, that's been there the past couple times too. Believe it or
really?
not. Yeah.
What the fuck? Well, it looks great. I bet your movie watching experiences are much better.
Oh, for sure. I did a Dune screen test yesterday because I remember on my old TV I started Dune up on HBO Max after I had seen it in the theaters, and it was like,
yeah.
But this time I was like, whoa.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like this is some good shit. This is my first TV I've bought on my own, and I'm so happy about it. Facebook Marketplace, little gem.
Nice.
But
yeah, it's
Wait, what were we? Oh,
Eternals.
Yeah. Okay. Here's my theory though: is that the big guys, the Celestials, they don't move like at all. So it's like, of course, you could make it a really detailed. You're just essentially hiring a digital artist to like paint one frame, and then you don't have to fuck with it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's that's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't much care for it.
I did not much fancy.
I didn't fancy the Eternals. What's trade off here? What'd you watch?
Okay. Let me get that back up. Oh dear God, I feel so unprepared. Oh wait, okay. So other than the obvious one, another release in the modern cinemas that I teased last episode, I went and saw Death on the Nile, which I can't believe that's been since our hiatus. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's exactly what you'd expect. Like if you saw Murder on the Orient Express, like Brana's not making a movie that's too different from that. It's full of Branagh-isms, which I think is like at times like very competent directing, and then suddenly it's like, oh, why would you ever do this?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about Death on the Nile is they really needed to like shoot some like on location scenes for this movie, because all of the like transitions that use CGI, like they have a shot where they're in a river and they like zooming up and there's like fish and everything, and it looks so fake. It's so CG. And then later they do have like a real shot where they put the camera in real water and it looks great, and it's like, why wouldn't you just like film the water? And there's a shot of the sky like that too. It's like, why not film the sky and put like a filter over it? Like, why have you got to make like a fucking CGI? Okay, that's just the thing, is Branagh makes choices that are like crazy to me, and he's not subtle as a director at all. Like, if there's something that can be said about his version of Hamlet too that I feel like people don't talk about too much, is that the play is full of subtlety and like doubt. It's like, maybe the murder at the heart of it didn't happen the way we know, but Branagh is like, oh, here's a flashback detailing exactly how it happened. Like, oh, here's a scene showing that this isn't just an innuendo. This is actually what that means. And it's like, I don't know. He's just very on the nose. And so, all that said, I like this movie a lot because it's a murder mystery movie and it's fun. And Poirot is a fun character. I love him so much. And I don't know. Death on the Nile is definitely a worse made movie, but I liked it more than Murder on the Orient Express because it was just more personal, the story at the heart of it. And even though the acting was worse, like, it was funny at least. Like, Gal Gadot gives a way more memorable performance than anyone in the first movie, and it's just because she's so bad. This movie helped me realize that Gal Gadot is just actually not a good actress. I don't know, I finally made my peace with it, like, because I used to really want to defend her, you know, especially because of Wonder Woman, and I think she plays that role really well, but it's like, she's not a great actress. She's a model.
Unfortunately, I need to see Death on the Nile still. I'm excited to watch it because I do like the Poirot movies, the little universe he's creating. I loved Murder on the Orient Express. Thought it was fun. So I do like murder mysteries as well. So that's part of like Knives Out was like people fucking love Knives Out, and not like if you think back on it, like, it was a good film, but I think what shot it into the stratosphere is the fact that it was a murder mystery, and like audiences eat those up. Like, just I mean, I eat them up. They're just so fun. So excited to watch that. So.
Well, I feel like that's like the whole like longevity of like shit like Law and Order and CIS is like, people just love going through a mystery like that and trying to figure it out for themselves, guessing the twist. You know, that's where that all comes from, is like trying to guess the killer, you know, in a story like this.
Okay, the next film I watched is a film that came out early this year, like within the first 2 weeks of 2022. It's a Netflix original, and it's an animated film called The House.
Oh, the stop motion one?
Yeah.
That looks really interesting. I still want to see that.
It is. It's interesting. That's like that's something I could say about it. It's interesting. Like,
okay.
I liked it, obviously. The animation's really good, really well put together. It's just what it was trying to say, the themes make no fucking sense. But like, obviously, you know, a rewatch could help. It's basically an anthology. There's 3 different stories, and supposedly it's all about the same house. It's one house, but in every story, I thought it was a different house until I read the synopsis and it said it was the same house. It's just everything looks different, but obviously you can see on the poster, it is the same house. The first story is really fucking dark and like terrifying.
No.
And the second story is a little less terrifying, but it's still kind of like horrifying to watch. Like, it jumps between humans. There's a story about humans, a story about mice, and then a story about cats. And they all live in the same house. The one with the cats is the most like depressing one. But I think the other 2 are just really weird, kind of just terrifying.
God. Okay.
And they all have different just like themes that I can't really dissect. But the animation is really good, and it was interesting, and it wasn't boring. I can tell you that it's not a boring film. It's only an hour and a half, flies by. It's interesting to watch visually. It's very pretty. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I liked it. So I recommend watching it and seeing what you can extract from it.
Yeah, hell yeah. I might need to wait till I have someone to watch it with. Stop motion's kind of like freaky already.
Yeah.
And then when they make like horror stop motion, I'm like, oh god.
Right.
There's I don't know how to describe it, but stop motion gore is the freakiest to me.
Yeah. The first story is like the scariest one. Like the first little part of the film. It's pretty terrifying.
Shit.
Especially in stop motion. Like it's just weird. I would highly, if anything, watch the first story of this little anthology thing.
Okay.
It's cool. I liked it.
I started like kind of a Criterion like bender after Batman. Sorry, yeah, we watched Batman. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But I watched 8.5, which is a
go.
movie that has been on my watch list for a while. That's like David Lynch's favorite movie, and then also maybe Martin Scorsese's like
Martin
favorite
Scorsese
movie.
loves Fellini.
Yeah, he's like I watched the whole like 20-minute interview of Martin Scorsese talking about Fellini. I was like, man, this is awesome.
Right.
Even though I haven't seen very much Fellini, so this was my first.
Yeah.
I've heard later that it's better if you watch like his movies in the order they were made because they kind of feed into each other, and it's meta in the title. It's his his 8.5 feature because he had like a short film or something that he did too.
Yeah.
And this movie is really, really cool. Like, I can definitely tell where, like, Lynch watched this movie and got, like, a bunch of ideas for how he wanted to make something like Eraserhead. It's just, like, a very interesting blend of reality and things becoming literal in one moment and then in the next being, like, drawn-out fantasy sequences. And it's just really cool and very meta. And honestly, when I first was watching it, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit bored in these parts or whatever. But the thing was, it was on my mind like for the next few days, and like I really wish I hadn't rated it right after I watched it because I grew to like it more the more I thought about it. And I'm even kind of thinking about like rewatching it this week.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's rare. Like, but it was just such a good movie that I want to like see if I caught everything in it.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've seen a Fellini movie. I can't remember which one.
Was it La Strada?
No, I think it was. I get a bunch of the French New Wave directors mixed up a lot of the times, so I get confused.
Could have been Godard.
I've seen a few Godard films. Where was the?
What did he do?
films?
Breathless.
Godard did Breathless.
Yeah, I started that the other day. I didn't get too far into it though. It didn't exactly like catch my interest, which I was kind of disappointed by.
Right. Well, Godard's hard to get into. I've seen some Godard I like, some I don't. One of my favorite movies is a Godard film. That's Let Me Pretty. It's Contempt. That's my favorite one. But honestly, it makes a lot more sense if you've seen all of Godard's stuff to watch Contempt. I watched it. I only haven't seen like 2 Godard movies, and then I was like, I love this. But yeah, La Dolce Vita. I started watching. It's hard to find this movie though because it's on YouTube in 720p. That's the only place I can find it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do another search because it was a year ago when I started watching it. But yeah, I do need to see 8.5 though. I really do.
Yeah, I'd say that. I see why any self-respecting like film buff like watches it. Like definitely a bunch of people wear this movie as its influence on their sleeve, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I hear Lightyear's going to do that too.
That's crazy.
That is so fucking
They were
weird.
talking about French New Wave being an inspo.
Oh, but I'm so interested if it actually is. Like if the movie looks like it's been inspired. It's going to be so cool.
That'd be interesting, a Buzz Lightyear hangout movie.
Right? Okay, so this next one, I won't say too much about this one because the next one I watched, I know that you rewatched, and so I wanted to talk with it about you.
Oh, yes, let's do it.
The first one though is I watched West Side Story.
Did you like?
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't love.
I didn't like I loved it the first like 45 minutes. And then I feel like it middles and it meanders in the especially in the middle part towards the ending. I didn't like the ending because it's like, okay, I didn't like the ending. Obviously, we all knew it was going to end like that. It's just like for all of Spielberg's, amazing filmmaking and the way he moves the camera and the way where he places the camera, the puddle shot, like every sequence is so meticulously crafted. And then for the end, he just chooses just the most boring framing, and then also he doesn't do anything to like enhance the ending at all.
Yeah,
which I feel is such a weird take, because he could have like rewritten it a little bit. Like I understand it's a remake of an adaptation of the Shakespeare play, and you don't want to like make it too much different. But I just feel like there might have been a more interesting ending he could have gone with to fit the scope of this movie a little bit more. But I did enjoy the performances of everybody except for Ansel Elgort. He was okay, but Rachel Zegler was amazing. I don't know who played the friend, the one that that fights oh my god, it's Ansel Elgort's friend. What's his name? I don't know the character's name.
Oh, his friend?
Yeah, the one that dies.
I don't know that actor, but he was like on Broadway. I think he was like in Dear Evan Hansen.
Okay, well he was
something.
amazing. He was amazing as well.
Yeah,
I really loved his performance.
No, I thought all the sharks were the standouts though.
Yeah.
Ariana DeBose, she was amazing. I can't remember. The other. The Sharks gang leader's name, the actor or the character, which I'm so bad about that. Yeah, they were all amazing. I want to say about the ending though, I feel like he didn't change that because like I don't know, because like you said, everyone knows the ending, and it's also just like very powerful and important in the culture. I guess like it's because it's Romeo and Juliet's ending essentially, so it's like. Dang. Yeah. I don't know. I guess he just didn't see the need to retool it a bunch, but I'll agree the framing in that sequence was oddly flat. Yeah. Compared to the rest of it.
Yeah. But overall, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. We both watched this movie.
Yeah.
I think I know which one. Yeah.
The Mitchells versus the Machines.
So how? You talk about it first.
Okay. I love it. I absolutely love it. I connected with it. So well. I fucking think that I thought it was so fucking funny, and I thought it was a really fresh animated movie. I do have my problems with some of the humor. Some of the humor feels like it was written by boomers, and then the other half of it feels like it was written by people from our generation that actually get our humor. Like it's a very memey movie. There's a lot of like the editing is at times I feel like it's over edited, but like. Certain jokes, the punchlines of certain jokes, like they really do hit, and I thought it was interesting how characters are animated in this movie. They look different. Like the mom has like, how do I explain this? Like in some animated, like okay, I'll give you an example. Fucking Mrs. Incredible and like another female that was animated in The Incredibles. They're like super slim, like. Basically matching, body expectations. And the Mitchells versus the Machines, every character was different, and every character was animated very specifically. It felt good. It felt nice watching that type of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Diversity, for sure, and also the, our main character's like gay, like. It's pretty obvious that she's gay. Like throughout the movie, they just kind of say it at the end.
No, Sony Pictures definitely has bigger balls than Disney or Pixar did.
Yeah,
just like go out there and be like, "Hey, we have gay characters."
Right.
I mean, I still feel like this movie really doesn't explore that very much, though. Like it's a selling point that a lot of people are talking about online, but it's like it's hardly in the movie. Though. Yeah, I mean, you can tell it's a queer character, but like they're not. I mean, they never get a chance to really express that queerness, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. The movie did really well. If they do a sequel, they could...
Yeah, that's true.
They could explore it there, which
I think they are
awesome.
doing a sequel, even.
Nice. I would love to see that.
So I feel like fish out of water in a discussion about this movie. When I watched it on pain meds, I really did like it. But I also fell asleep through a lot of it. And I think that what stood out to me was the hyper animation and like the cool style. Just and the funny like, you know, randomly cut in there like jokes. Like the like driving maneuver that comes up a couple times. That shit's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like, the humor of this movie is pretty good. And, well, sometimes, like you said.
Right.
And, you know, the animation's really cool. I don't know. It's just, like, it feels like a lot of emotional manipulation going on, I guess. Like, I feel like they just straight up, like, have sequences that are supposed to be like, this is supposed to be emotional. And, like, it didn't make me feel a damn thing. Because it felt like a screenwriter trying to get me to feel that way. Like, oh wow, we have a lot of like home video footage of like very intimate moments that just happen to be filmed perfectly on this camera. Like, I don't know, I don't think they needed that framing device to like make that emotion feel real. Like, I think that the conflict between the dad and the daughter is compelling enough that you don't have to like have scenes where you're trying to get the audience to feel sentimental. And the biggest thing for me too is that Maya he, Maya who, like bullshit, like that they're trying to make that a thing. Like, oh, this is gonna pay off in a big way. I don't know. So I guess I feel bummed because everyone really loves this movie, and like Jacob and Natalie, like they love this movie. And I feel like I actually actively don't like it very much. And I mean, I see why it's liked, and I see that it's really well made. But I don't like it. You know?
I get it. I understand what you're saying. I would my like counterpoint to that is they were with like the home video stuff, is it's sort of like the realization for Katie, the main character, of all the sacrifices that, you know, her family, or specifically her dad, made for her, that a lot of like kids don't actually see. Like, you don't understand when you're a child, or even when you're like a teenager, what your parents like do for you. And obviously this is like not a blanket statement. This is not all families, but you know, and I felt that was like, that was really cool. That's why I liked that. I don't know. I related to Katie and her dad's like relationship a lot, because the dad in the movie reminds me a lot of my dad. And so maybe the emotional manipulation did work on me, but I feel like it was trying to point at something bigger and not just trying to make you cry. But I understand what you're saying.
I guess like why I would give this movie 3 stars, even if I don't like it, is like, I agree with most of the messaging in it, you know, and I think it's got a good message. And I think that it talks about a lot of stuff, like you said, like we don't usually talk about, like parents sacrificing for us in ways we don't know about, and you know, the conflict that arises, like a parent who just maybe doesn't get your stuff. Like, I remember feeling like that with my dad at points of my life, like, oh, you just don't get it, like, and it makes me feel sad that I can't share that with you because you don't understand. But so I mean, like, I get that. I just feel like the way that it's conveyed in this movie is very like very sloppy, you know. I guess because Phil Lord and Chris Miller have their names all over it, like I can't help but feel like comparing this movie to their other movies like Lego Movie and Into the Spider-Verse, which I feel have emotional moments that feel just like way more earned than in this movie. And I don't know, I guess it was just a disappointment to me because I wanted to like it so much more, and people really do like it.
Well, that's okay, because now that you mentioned it, we can flip-flop on this. I am an Into the Spider-Verse liker and not a lover and devoted fan like everybody else is. That's my animated movie that when it came out, I was like, yeah, that was really good. But everybody else was like, yeah, it's the best movie ever made. And I'm like, no.
Is it so bad that when you like something initially, and then everyone else likes it so much, and they're talking about it all the time that you like it less. Like, just positivity killing your vibe.
Literally, that's what happened with me and Into the Spider-Verse. I was like, yeah, it was good, but everybody just kept talking about it, and I was like, I mean, it's fine.
I feel like that's what I felt about it too. Yeah, and with Mitchell's. And also with Minecraft, like back in 2012, like, wait, why is everyone at school playing it now?
Yeah.
This is fucking stupid. I hate this game. Only babies are playing it, and I'm like fucking 13.
Nice.
Oh gosh. Yes, Mitchell's. Wait, what? How did we get to that?
We were talking about Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yeah, but then we flip flopped on something.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. That's right. Okay. Well. There's Mitchell's versus the Machines. I don't know. Do you have more to say on it?
No, I don't.
I didn't mean to cut it off.
I liked it. You're good. It's my pick. Honestly, the animation category, it's between that and Luca for me. Those are my picks.
I gotta still see Luca.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Oh,
and Encanto. I gotta see that.
Encanto's good too, yeah.
I've seen the first 18 minutes. It seems like a blast. I can't wait to see where it goes. Okay, just a couple more. Oh God, actually so many. I rewatched Yojimbo, which I've only seen it 2 times now. But like Yojimbo was huge for me when I watched it. Like my first Kurosawa movie, my first like film that I sought out because it was like a film or whatever, right. And it was like by a foreign director, and I just wanted to get into that shit.
Yeah.
And I remember like it kickstarted my Western phase too. Like I watched Fistful of Dollars immediately after, which is like an official remake of it. Being like, oh my gosh, are Western movies like Yojimbo? And then I watched like, you know, the whole Dollars trilogy and like all of Clint Eastwood's like individual movies, and it was fucking awesome, and life was good. I don't know. I feel like I can trace that back to Yojimbo, so I had very warm memories about this movie, and I've just kind of always vouched for how good it is.
It is so good.
Yeah, and rewatching it, it's still so good. This is one of those happy cases where something that you really obsessed over as a kid is actually as good as you remember.
It still holds up.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Kurosawa is awesome, and I don't know. I kind of want to just dive right back into all of his filmography. You know, rewatch shit like Hidden Fortress and Seven Samurai, because those are also movies I've only seen once.
Yeah,
and then see his stuff I've never seen, like Ran or like Ikaru or.
I still need to watch Rashomon.
Yeah. High and Low is one that I really, really want to see.
Okay, yeah. What's it called?
High and Low. It's like his noir or like the detective movie, I think.
Gosh, yeah. There's still a lot of Kurosawa I've yet to see that we've yet to see. Yeah. Wow, we need to do that.
We should do that.
What did I watch next? I'll just quickly say that I've been rewatching Doctor Who.
Copyright.
It's good. I love Doctor Who. I'll never not Doctor Who. It's cheap television, but it's so good. I love it.
Which docky are you on?
We're on the 10th Doctor right now. We're on season 3.
Nice.
It's good.
Oh, that's the one with like the bad companion, though, right? Series
Martha.
3. Yeah.
She's iffy. Like, I like her, but like...
I just feel like her storyline was kind of annoying. Like, it wasn't the actor's fault. It was just like... her storyline of needing to like also be in love with the Doctor was really we're going for this, right. And I feel like they're playing it in a way where they're setting her up against Rose, and it's like, don't do that.
It's like every episode we compare her to Rose when we're watching it.
Distinguish her. That's what's great about Donna, is she's not fucking trying.
Yeah,
you know?
Donna. Initially I hated Donna, but Donna becomes a good companion, like one top tier companion. But we're rewatching that. If you haven't watched Doctor Who, you should definitely give it a try. You just gotta have fun with it. It's cheap. It's very cheap television. The effects look goofy as hell. Some of the storylines are goofy as hell, but it has such a charm to it that you just can't deny, and that's why I love it.
Yeah.
But the next movie I saw was I'm Thinking of Ending Things, the newest Charlie Kaufman written and directed film. And let me tell you, it's shit. It's absolute garbage. There's like, man, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's the kind of movies I want Kaufman to make. And then I want to see from Kaufman, whether he's writing them or directing them, it doesn't matter. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is just a giant blob of meaningless dialogue, existentialism, nihilism, philosophical ramblings, and they never line up to a coherent thought or message. And the movie is about as boring to look at as it is to sit through its mindless jabbering, and I hated it. I have nothing good to say about it. It's really bad. I don't know if you've seen it, but
that's so disappointing to hear. I watched the first 30 minutes, and honestly, I was really into it.
Oh yeah, that's the best part. The first 30 minutes of the movie is like the best. That's the only good, like, you know, but it just devolves after that.
That sucks. I love Kaufman so much, so
Yeah.
I do want to actually finish it. I might watch that tonight. I don't know. It might get crazy. It might get nuts. But I mean, like, I love Anomalisa. I love fucking Adaptation.
Yeah, Adaptation's amazing.
And I mean, like you said, Eternal Sunshine
Yeah.
is always a classic.
Yep.
Did he go too far up his own ass or something?
Yes, that's exactly what it feels like.
Okay.
Way too far up his
What a
own
bummer.
ass.
What a
Yeah.
bummer. Well, let me see. Did I watch? Oh my gosh, two other fucking movies.
Oh my
what
God,
a loser.
bro.
Okay, I watched like the 1948 Hamlet with like Laurence Olivier.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
I
I don't think so.
It's actually like really good.
Okay.
I feel like it influenced a lot of stuff, but it's Hamlet. You know,
Right.
you know what Hamlet is. It's Hamlet without all the political stuff though, which I kind of missed. I like
Right.
the whole like spy stuff and treachery. But
Is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern from Hamlet?
but
Okay.
they're not in this version. That's what I mean. Like, there's
okay.
like big cuts like that, and I'm like, okay, good, because we have a 2.5 hour movie instead of a 4 hour movie. But bad because actually I missed that stuff that's gone now.
right.
And also I hate takes on Hamlet that have like Oedipus complexes, like Hamlet like thirsting for his mom. Don't love that shit. This movie's full of that shit, like them kissing each other. Tom Brady style, you know. Fucking gross.
Did you hear Tom Brady actually came out of retirement already?
Really?
Just 6 weeks after retiring, he announced he's going to play for the Buccaneers.
Wow, he must have gotten offered a shit ton of fucking
A
money.
shit ton of money. Or he just was super bored and he's like, what do I do with my life now?
What do I do now? Do you have another?
I have one more movie.
Yes, fuck yes. This is perfect. We alternate.
Yeah, so the last... okay, I watched a Madonna documentary. I don't have a lot to say about it. I love Madonna. It's fine. It's whatever. It's a Madonna documentary. But the one I wanted to talk about that I watched is The Wrestler. Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's really good. I liked it a lot. It's like, it's not doing anything much different than your typical like aging superstar kind of like trope movie.
Yeah.
But it's just so damn good. It does everything correctly. Like the screenplay is awesome. You know, mise en scène, it's all there. Fucking Marisa Tomei or Melissa Tomei. It's
Marisa Tomei.
Marisa Tomei. Sorry. She's a stripper in this. She's an older like stripper, and she's great. And so is Mickey Rourke as Randy the Ram Johnson. It's just good. Professional wrestling world is nothing I've ever been interested in, but this movie does a hell of a job making you interested. It's very violent. The fights are very like visceral. They're filmed really well. Everybody does a great job acting. The score, the soundtrack is great. It's just good. It's just good.
Hell yeah.
Like, nothing like masterpiece levels, but it's really good. I love Aronofsky. So.
I just need to get into Aronofsky.
Bro,
like I
please.
feel like I've put it off so long. Like I've never seen Requiem. I've never seen Black Swan. I've never seen any of that shit. Like, Mother.
Start watching shows. If you want to start watching Aronofsky, I would highly recommend starting with The Wrestler and then watch Black Swan because they're kind of like companion pieces.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and then you can watch like literally any of his other movies. But I would definitely suggest The Wrestler is the least crazy one, and a good stepping off point for Aronofsky, I think.
You don't think I should watch Noah?
No, I still haven't even seen Noah.
I heard it's better than you would think, though.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I just haven't watched that yet, but yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. What's your last film that you saw?
I watched Barry Lyndon.
Oh yeah, is this a 5-star film for you?
Yeah, I watch every time I watch a Kubrick movie. I always walk away and I go like, wow, that's a 5-star fucking movie. So it kind of scares me, honestly, to like run out of Kubrick movies one day, because there are so many that I still haven't seen.
Same.
Like Spartacus or like Doctor Strangelove, and I need to, or even Eyes Wide Shut, but I'm scared to. I don't want to run out. But Barry Lyndon, I mean, just affirms why I should be watching those movies though, because they're goddamn fucking masterpieces. Like
right.
every goddamn frame of Barry Lyndon is like a painting. Like it's so pretty, and then on top of that, it conveys so much emotion. Like I can't believe that someone lived on this earth that was so brilliant with how he framed shit. Just wow, amazing. I think John Alcott was the cinematographer. Yeah, just clearly one of the best to have ever done it. The score is perfect. I mean, the performances are incredible across the board, and just like, I don't know, it's kind of a more, it's not aimless, it's just episodic, you know, so you never really know where the story's going, but I loved that about it. Like, I was like, where the fuck is this period piece taking me?
Right.
Like, I don't know, it was adapted from a novel written in the 1800s, which can sound really boring, but like, despite how period piecey it was and how like authentic to the times without much modern flair, like it was so engaging and so good. Barry Lyndon is a masterpiece, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Nice.
3-hour fucking movie.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Kubrick I haven't seen. I haven't seen Barry Lyndon, Paths of Glory, Clockwork Orange.
Oh, you gotta watch Clockwork Orange.
I know, it's the next one I'm gonna watch in his filmography. Oh, and there's one other one I think that I haven't seen. Spartacus I haven't seen. But yeah, I don't know. I need to watch. I'm kind of like you though. It's like, if I watch them all, there's no more Kubrick. Like, every time I watch a Kubrick film, I'm like, God, this is so different and so good, and I love it. I've seen The Shining like 3 times already, and I really want to watch it again, like really soon, just because his movies are like definitely rewatchable.
I've seen, honestly, one of the movies I've seen the most in my life is 2001: A Space Odyssey. I've seen that like 8 or 9 times. Like,
really?
I just, and I mean, it's not even because like I want to like reanalyze it. It just like feels like a good watch. Yeah. Like if someone hasn't seen it, I'm like, oh yeah, let's put that on right now.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because it's like a 2.5 minimal dialogue movie, but like I love it. I just sit through it.
But you haven't seen Dr. Strangelove?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's one of my favorites. I think I like. Well, I can't rank Kubrick right now, but let me tell you, Dr. Strangelove is fucking amazing and hilarious. So good. Podcast dog getting pets.
Yeah, podcast dog getting major pets. And speaking of major pets, let's talk about some major blockbuster motion pictures.
Let's go!
So we're gonna talk about Batman. Spoiler free first, though, which will probably be minimal, right? Because we just
there's not a whole lot to say. I was gonna say we could just get into it.
I don't know. I feel like we should give just the slightest of reviews.
Yeah,
we don't have to say much. Like,
right.
Do you like Robert Pattinson?
Yes.
Bam. He's my new favorite Batman. I don't know. That says a lot, right? Zoe Kravitz, also
amazing.
Just like all of the principal performances, like Colin Farrell's unrecognizable. He's incredible. Paul Dano, I was a big fan of. I feel like this one people will be divided on, though. And
right.
So form your own opinion about his Riddler performance.
I loved it, and I'll explain why I loved it in spoiler talk. But
definitely the grimmest Batman that we've seen on screen, which is crazy because Dark Knight was already pretty dark, but honestly, looking back on Nolan's trilogy, it's lighter hearted than we think, you know?
Well, the thing about everybody saying this Batman is so dark, I'm like, this is just Batman. Yeah. Like, this is literally, if you read the comics, you watch, or not even watch the movies, just read the comics or play the video games, like, it's all, like, Batman's just a dark,
he's a broody guy.
A dark world, and and his villains are always, like, really serious and dark as well. Well, most of the time they are, at least, but I mean, this is, it was good. The tone was perfect, I think.
Yeah, without talking spoilers, I think this might be my new favorite Batman movie, even if it's maybe not technically the best Batman movie.
I agree.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yes, please do. It's amazing.
Okay, and spoiler talk in
3, 2, 1.
Well, there's always the temptation to start spoiler talk with like a major spoiler, but I don't know. I don't want to just defile the Batman like that. I will say that when the movie started, a light was still on in our theater, so like apparently a lot of people were wondering like, oh, is this the Waynes getting murdered? And I was just wondering throughout that sequence, like, is someone going to turn off the fucking lights?
Yeah.
So that was kind of ruined, but luckily they turned off right before the Riddler made his like scary entrance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
I love that this is like a horror detective
noir
movie.
Shit.
Yeah. It's something that makes so much sense for Batman, and I have been dying to see on the big screen.
Yes.
But this just really brought all the shit that I would have wanted to see for this character. Like, young Batman's just so fun.
Yeah.
Like, because he's not, like, the most overpowered, like, well put together guy. He's, like, vengeful and angry, but, like, sometimes that makes him, like, scarier, though.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't hold his punches or whatever. Like,
I agree, because one thing I loved about a lot of people didn't. Okay, I'm going to preface this real quick. I'm going to be comparing this movie to the Arkham games a lot.
Yeah.
But that is only because I think the Arkham games do a perfect job at encapsulating everything about Batman. That just, they do it really well. So Batman Arkham Origins came out, and it was obviously a prequel to the Arkham series when Batman was still in his early years. And a lot of people didn't like that game, but I loved it because when you play as Batman in that game, he does not hold punches. He beats the fuck out of like criminals, like breaking their arms and legs. Like the combat is just very brutal. And that's one of the things I noticed in this Batman movie is that he is a lot more brutal than he is in his like later years or when he's like at his peak.
Yeah.
Like, peak superhero like movies are never as interesting as they are when the superheroes in their in the early years or in their later years. I feel like those are much more compelling stories because they're still figuring out their identity or they're having to reckon with things from their identity. And the Batman places us, year 2. Like that is the perfect like, trilogy opener for Batman.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So maybe making the first flamey statement of the night, I feel like what makes this movie just so much more engaging than something like Batman Begins is just like the fallibility of Batman. Like the fact that this might actually not be a good idea. Like, because I feel like in Batman Begins, everyone just is so quickly won over by this fucking insane idea that like, oh, Bruce Wayne should dress up like a bat and like go beat up criminals at night. This movie like begs the question like, is beating up street thugs like all that particularly helpful? Like, is that really the bigger issue here? Or like, is this like productive for like a person to like go out there and like potentially die? Like, I'm so convinced that Bruce Wayne in this movie meant what he said. Like, I don't care what happens to me. Like, he was just content to, like, die doing that, just beating the fuck out of, like, street thugs who don't really mean anything. And not really have changed the city in any kind of meaningful way.
Right.
And I feel like this movie is so engaging because you have to see him find that purpose. He doesn't just, like, get to pull it out of his ass. Like, it turns out having your parents be shot to death and going on a vengeful quest is not a mission statement. You need to actually experience things. And so many times in this movie, I feel like they finally put Bruce Wayne to the test. Like, if some fucking rich guy was Batman, he probably wouldn't know what to do with this carpenter's tool, and he's gonna miss the whole big plot. Like, that's the best reveal in the movie by far.
The carpenter's tool.
Yeah, and the Riddler.
I think also, like, going off of that about like him learning, I think what I thought was so well done in this movie is skipping to the end climax when he unmasks the one of the Riddler minions and he asks him who he is and he says, "I'm vengeance." It is like this perfect character arc for Batman and for Bruce, understanding that he has to become more than just a guy who beats the fuck out of people and people are afraid of, and needs to become a symbol of hope, because that's a lot of thing that people miss about the character of Batman. He's not just like terrifying to criminals. He's also the beacon of hope for people. And the Batman, I love that the movie starts out with him monologuing about the bat symbol, because in Batman's prime years, the bat symbol is also like the symbol of hope and safety for the people, while also fear for criminals. But the movie starts out as it just being like it's a fucking warning. And I think that arc is explored so well in this movie from beginning to end. I love that aspect.
I like that there's effort to show how the people he saves react. Like in superhero movies, there's always the cliche of like, "Oh, thank you, you saved my life and my 2 babies." And I like in this movie, like the first guy he saves, he just mercilessly beats these thugs down, and the guy is essentially like pissing his pants.
Yeah,
he's
like,
so
"Don't hurt
terrified
me."
of Batman. He thinks that he's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the movie, he's rescuing people who are like willingly following him out of this like scary situation, and they have to have that trust. He has to provide that hope. I fuck with that so hard that he has to actually think about that symbol and what he has to become. And I love the way Gotham is presented in this movie.
Yes!
This is the best on-screen Gotham. Like I didn't realize how lackluster the Gotham is just Chicago thing was until this movie came out.
Which, I mean, one of the things I'm not going to do with this movie is compare it to Nolan's trilogy. Because, I mean, we'll obviously make comparisons, but I'm saying, like, Nolan's trilogy was meant to be something else. He wasn't trying to capture something. He was doing what Zack Snyder wants to do and using the characters to convey something else, but also doing it pretty good, pretty well for comic book fans as well. But what the Batman does is bring Gotham to life in a way that I've never seen it. And I love that they focus on locale. Location is so key in Gotham City. The Iceberg Lounge is so important, and they made sure to make the Iceberg Lounge something you remember from when he walks up and you see like the font. That font is the same font that's used in Arkham City, by the way.
I kind of forgot that it was in Arkham City also.
And just like the architecture of Arkham, Arkham's featured in the movie for a brief moment, but of Gotham, it is so well done, and it really feels like this is fictional, like, and that's what I needed. With Nolan, he wanted it to feel like it was reality. It is like, imagine this is a city like Chicago.
Yeah, and then imagine it transforms into Pittsburgh overnight. Well, and I don't want to like compare this. I feel like that's a disservice to like the whole reason Batman gets redone a lot is that he's a character that benefits from multiple interpretations. And Nolan even said that on a podcast. He was like, I love what Matt Reeves is doing because Batman's always lent himself to reinterpretation, and that's what makes him so interesting. And I agree wholeheartedly. And for Nolan's universe, I think that makes sense for what he's going for. I guess I was just trying to say, like, this movie, I'm comparing them because it exists, and it's kind of hard not for it to be compared. And I feel like I'll even compare it to Burton at some point. But I guess I'm just saying, like, I like the direction they went in this. Both make sense.
Right.
But
I agree. I like that a lot of care was put into the setting of Gotham in this movie.
Yeah.
It makes a world of difference, and it really just puts you into like, ah, shit, we're in Gotham City now. Like, we're not just watching a movie about a guy dressed up like a bat in a city. We're watching Batman in Gotham City. Like, it just makes the world a difference, and that's what that was a huge point for me of loving this film, is that the city was so alive, and it was good.
The sacrifice of things that have been filmed over and over again, like the parent death scene, or like him meeting Gordon. Like, I'm just so glad that we're over that, and we can just world build instead. Yeah. Because this movie just really benefited from that, and it turns out you don't have to film Thomas and Martha getting shot in order to convey the deep emotional pain that follows him. Like, that shot of him looking at the kid at the start of the movie, that does that for you. It says it all. You don't need words. Like, you don't need to go over that again.
Exactly. It's so well done.
I love it. Like the gym the Jim Gordon and Batman relationship movie in this movie is great. And I mean, you don't even need to see the start of it. You can just jump mid-thing, gain a lot of insight about their relationship, and still enjoy their dynamic on screen. Like the punch scene is people are saying this movie's not funny, and it's actually
so
got
funny.
So many like just low-key jokes. Like it turns out humor doesn't have to be quips. Like you can just have something that's inherently funny.
I think honestly the Riddler is honestly really funny sometimes too, like whether intentional or not. Like I think Paul Dano meant for it to be intentional in some places, like
with the Ave Maria shit.
Well, just like I don't. Can we talk about the Riddler? Because I have a lot to say about.
Please. Let's just jump around, man.
Okay, this Riddler is so amazing. Paul Dano's take is comic book accurate, lore accurate, while yet being refreshing. And here's why. Here's my thesis. Okay, the Riddler in the comics and in just Batman, mythos and stuff, he is a egomaniac. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else. But with the Batman, he's constantly trying to prove that he is smarter than Batman, but yet Batman always outsmarts him. And what's so ironic about the Riddler and Batman relationship is that the Riddler has never figured out, or maybe a storyline or two he has, but normally he's never figured out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And that scene in the movie where he thinks he's figured it out, but he says he's the only one we didn't get, and he thinks that him and Batman are working together. That moment right there is the entire thesis of their entire relationship, because Batman is smarter than Riddler. Riddler thinks he's smarter than Batman and basically has this God complex, but yet doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And it is perfect. Like the way Paul Dano plays the Riddler as being, as he makes jokes, the Riddler makes jokes that only the Riddler thinks is funny. And in this movie, he makes jokes that only he thinks are funny. And like the collar scene when he's the bomb caller and he's like basically acting like a fucking fool, like over FaceTime, talking about these riddles. It is the Riddler, and it's so perfect. And they couldn't have chose a better villain for this first movie. I think it was fucking amazing.
He's so well implemented too. Like I like, all the changes to like the character's origin are in service of what the movie is going for. Like in so many Batman movies before, they've like been like, oh, you created me and I created you or whatever. Like that's what Tim Burton's Batman is with Joker. Like oh, Joker shot his parents and he pushed Joker into a vat of acid. But this movie actually like dives into like Batman made the Riddler like what he is, like in that the twist that he thinks that they've been working together just puts like so much cool context into those scenes that you kind of thought were off-putting earlier. Like the FaceTime sequence is so weird because he's being so chummy about it, and he's like so proud of himself and happy, and he's actually not interested in unmasking in that sequence. Like he's just. And it doesn't matter if he unmasks. He knows that he has an online following, and he thinks Batman's aware of that too. But he's not. And I don't know. That just like that makes it so much more important to have this character be in the story and be relevant to Bruce's arc. Because they're foils. They parallel in that perfect way. And they actually have so much more in common than Batman is willing to admit. And and you actually feel that in this movie. That this is just like two people who went through similar experiences and they came out different ways. I don't know.
It's so well done. I couldn't have asked for a better Riddler take. And Paul Dano quickly is becoming one of my favorite actors. And just his take on it is amazing. The scene where he figures it out.
That was so good.
Paul Dano constantly makes the right choices every fucking time. Man, it's great. The character design of the Riddler, a lot of people were bashing. There's nothing wrong with it.
I dig it.
I mean, I dig it. I dig it too. It's not like the boiler hat and question mark green suit that, or the spandex that Jim Carrey wore. Jim Carrey kind of nuked the character of the Riddler, but thankfully Paul Dano has like brought it back into the Riddler is actually a very competent villain for Batman and a very great parallel for Batman, especially with his detective skills. Really loved that. Also, the Penguin is great too. Colin Farrell is unrecognizable. There's no way you can look at that and say, "Yeah, it's Colin Farrell." Like, no, that's just the Penguin, man.
So the Penguin was good. I didn't expect him to be second fiddle as much, and I feel like the previews aren't really giving you an idea of just how important Carmine Falcone is in this movie. And also, John Turturro, kind of the MVP I didn't expect in the Rogues Gallery. Like, I have never given a shit about any of the mob like storylines in Batman before. Like,
they're much more interesting in the comics, honestly.
Yeah. Like in the year one comic, it's interesting, but I'm not trying to bash Nolan, but I think the weakest part of Batman Begins is the mob stuff.
Shit,
you don't care about it, and they throw it out the window really quickly for the superpowered guys. And in The Dark Knight, oddly, is where they do the mob stuff way better.
Way better, yeah.
But so like Falcone, I never cared about him before. But in this movie, he's so intimidating, and actually, it's just like all the swagger in the character, and I don't know, the way they shoot this movie, like everyone kind of feels like the same like size and like capability. Like when Batman's like fighting people, like I don't know, it just feels like more on the ground with them than it did in the Nolan movies. Like I feel in Nolan, you know that Batman's probably gonna beat the shit out of all the thugs, but he's gonna run up against some difficulty with like the main big bad. In this movie, it's like, oh damn, random street thug number 3 might have it in for Batman. So you felt like Carmine Falcone was kind of even a threat to like Bruce anyway, and definitely to Catwoman. Like I was so scared in that sequence. I was like, what the shit is happening? This strangulation sequence has been going on so long.
I know, I love that they brought the strangulation as a motif back for Falcone, because it made him seem like he was his own sort of supervillain, kind of like he had Penguin has his thing, Riddler has his thing. Well, Falcone, he strangles people. You know, I don't know, that just the devotion to characteristics of to basically, it's like you can't say Falcone's just another mob guy, because he's much more interesting than that, essentially. And I really dug the way Reeves implemented him as well.
And I like the plot point that they were able to explore because of Falcone's inclusion, the doubt because of like Thomas Wayne hiring going to Falcone to deal with the Martha Wayne problem. One of my biggest theories going into this movie, mainly because of the Sins of the Father thing, but also because in the Telltale Batman games this is the case, but the Waynes being maybe more involved with the criminal underbelly of Gotham than Bruce was aware. Yeah. And so they didn't really go there fully. Yeah. But I like the bits they did go there.
I did. I wish they would have stuck with it, though, because in one scene you have this huge realization, and then the very next scene, Alfred's like, no, that's not what happened. And it completely undercuts what could have been a really defining moment for Bruce. With like his parents not being the people he thought they were.
He'd really have to reckon with himself.
He'd really have to do, but they chose not to do that for some reason, and I feel like that would have helped the story even more. If not, it would have been better.
I feel like it was just like maybe studio pressure to like keep it down low, because I feel like they wanted to go that angle. Like the Riddler seems very upset with Thomas Wayne. Like I don't know. I feel like they should have committed to that, like how they did. Because in the Telltale games, they do fully commit to that. Like your dad was essentially a mob boss, and the character has to like really think like why they're doing it. Yeah. It's like, if it's not for my parents, then what is it for? Uh-oh. That was not an alarm.
Well, we've gushed about it enough. Do you have anything you don't like about it? I have a couple things that I wanted to get into. Maybe.
Don't like. There's not things that I don't like per se. Oh, sorry. I wanted to say Zoe Kravitz is my favorite Catwoman. By the way, like.
Well, let's talk. We didn't even talk about her yet.
We didn't talk about Alfred either. I kind of want to hear. And I want to get specific about Pattinson. Okay. So we'll just knock these out. Kravitz, do you love her more than other Catwomen, or are you a big Anne Hathaway stan? No.
Anne Hathaway's Catwoman is garbage.
Yeah, I forget that she's in that movie, to be honest.
Honestly, Zoe Kravitz is probably the best Catwoman. I know we've only had like 2 iterations of it on film, but yeah, Zoe Kravitz is the best one so far. She encapsulates a lot of what Catwoman is supposed to be. Sort of like she's a sexual, like kind of like dominatrix figure, but she's not sexualized in the movie. She's just sexual, I guess, but like not overbearing. It was just a perfect blend for her. Also, Catwoman being a person of color is like the only choice. Like Catwoman in the comics, I know was like normally she's like played by she's coded to be a white character, but I've always felt like Catwoman fits better as a person of color for me.
Yeah, Selena Kyle. Yeah, I just feel like it. Not only is it just like good representation, but like I do feel like at some point like that just kind of became like, I guess with Halle Berry playing the character, like it just made so much sense that she's a woman of color. Like I don't know why. In The Dark Knight Rises, apparently Zoe Kravitz was rejected for being too urban. So I guess they've thought that, Catwoman should be a white character until recently.
No, that's
crazy.
Anne Hathaway's Catwoman was not good.
No, Good. If it was Zoe Kravitz or Anne Hathaway back then, they should have still gone with Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
But we don't know that's the role she was going for. She didn't confirm.
Yeah, true. But she's great in this movie. Yeah. She's great.
She's fucking awesome. Not hearing a lot of love for Andy Serkis as Alfred, but
he's fine. Like
I really liked what he was in. He just wasn't in it very much. He
wasn't. Maybe he'll have a bigger role in the next 2 movies. Like I hope. But so far, Andy Serkis as Alfred is fine. Like
he's killing it.
I still think Kane is the best Alfred of all time, but Andy Serkis, he was pretty good.
Kane's going to be hard to top.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're trying to compete with that aspect of Nolan's trilogy. Like, they're like, okay, this is going to be a different Alfred relationship, but we're not going to explore too much of that yet. I thought he was dead. I really did think they killed him, which I've never felt before that they would go there.
In this movie, I was like, oh, he's dead. He's got to be dead. But he wasn't, which was surprising. But I'm glad he's not, because I like him as Alfred. I wanted to see more. Of that relationship, but yeah, it's I liked it.
I did like the moments of conflict too. You're not my dad, Alfred. No, not that part necessarily, but it was just good to see them at odds with each other, because I feel like Nolan didn't go there very much, and so it's a new dynamic, I guess. Yeah. And what? Oh, Robert Pattinson. So I feel like people are conflicted on him, like, more than I thought. Like, I just honestly feel like, though, that the other side of this issue just isn't understanding this character arc. Like, that Bruce is not the playboy yet is fully intentional, and the acting choices that Robert Pattinson makes are not one-dimensional. They're very well thought out and aid this character at this stage. We will see this character evolve, because we know it's going to be a trilogy. Yeah. And I love that they're going to take the time to do that. But this character has an arc. This character is portrayed exactly how the screenwriter / director wanted it to be portrayed. And Robert Pattinson's brilliant. I love him.
I know. I fully agree with everything you said. I think a lot of people are saying he's not a good Bruce Wayne. It's like, okay, guys, remember, it's year 2. It is so early in his career. His rogues gallery is not even halfway full yet. Like, he's still got some maturing and growth to do, and I think it makes total sense that he's still trying to balance who he is as Bruce Wayne and who he is as Batman, because Batman is his true identity and Bruce Wayne is the facade he puts on, and he's still trying to balance the two, I think. And the fucking Pattinson is oh my god, he's such a great actor, and his decision to play Bruce like that in this movie is fine. Like, he's a good Bruce Wayne and he's a good Batman. Like, he's a great Batman. I don't know.
I definitely think his best acting choice in this movie was to not give Batman throat cancer.
Yeah, I agree.
He just talks at a lower pitch, like a
yeah.
normal guy, like what Michael Keaton did.
Right.
Like what everyone except Christian Bale did. Like, why did he show up to set and do that?
I don't fucking know.
Why did Nolan let it happen for so long? He had 7 years to stop this man from doing that shit.
And he didn't.
And he let it happen.
I don't know. I did like the one thing I liked about Snyder's Batman take is that he had a throat modulator.
Yeah,
like,
that was
made
pretty
his
cool.
that was kind of dope.
I don't know.
But
The thing about Snyder's Batman that I fucking hate is that it's trying to be the most macho Batman of all time.
it's like the alpha man's Batman.
While having him do less cool shit than the character's ever done. Like, by Justice League, Batman is a comical character because he does nothing. And it's like, why all the posturing with the macho shit if he's actually fucking worthless?
Yeah, I agree. It's fucking stupid. I think I haven't decided who my favorite Batman is yet, but man, Pattinson really fucking hell, he does a great job.
He could have been a contender. He's a contender, actually.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, I love him. I thought it was great.
But
Perfect.
there's some stuff you don't like about the movie.
There is some stuff I don't like about it. Starting technical aspects, they use a fucking lens that blurs out the surrounding edges of the screen and focuses on the it's like middle circle, and it's used in a lot of movies, but it is most annoying in this fucking film. I'm specifically thinking of, like, it's very prominent in the very last scene when the mayor, after the city's been flooded and she's giving some speech, there's like the zoom in on her and you can see the lens, and you can see it many times throughout the film. Many times. And it is fucking annoying. I hate whatever lens or whatever effect they're doing on that scene. I fucking hate it. It adds nothing artistic. I don't like it. That's my personal preference, though.
So you heard it here first. He's a hater.
I know. Well, it brought me out of the movie several times. The movie's so engaging and immersive, and every time I saw that, it just took me out of it. It's like, what? That does not need to be there. Like, what are you doing? Another thing I don't like about it is we were talking about, like, maybe the screenplay in some areas it falters. For example, the Alfred thing, the scene, the big realization about his parents, and then the immediate scene after saying no, that's not the case. It was a huge roller coaster moment. We hit this peak, and then immediately we just kind of like cruise. We don't drop. Like, it's like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hit like a peak realization, and then immediately it's like wiped away. And so everything you just thought.
Yeah, it goes back on it.
It goes back
bit.
on
It's
itself.
like, oh, this is the ultimate betrayal. Oh, it's actually not so bad.
Yeah. And they
it actually doesn't change anything about the character's current circumstances to know this info. He just had to think about it for like a minute. Yeah, that's right.
The movie does it more than once. It does it 3 times that I can think of now, just that I noticed in my first viewing. It does it when they're figuring out the first riddle. Alfred says, this is what it is. I'm looking for this. Next scene, immediately after, Batman's like, actually, you're wrong. It's this. So Alfred was on the wrong track the entire time. And then the scene where they catch the Riddler and Batman goes into the apartment building, is looking for him, and he's gone. And they're like, oh, he got away. And then the next moment, somebody calls, like, he's down at the cafe. It's like, why would he do that? Why would you? And like, it doesn't flow very well. Like, one scene, he's escaped. Oh no, he's escaped. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, somebody just saw him. He's in the cafe. And so then they run to the cafe and they arrest him. I don't know.
Why do you say it like that?
What?
Why do you say cafe like that?
Cafe?
Say cafe.
Cafe?
You've been saying cafe.
I don't know. How's it supposed to be said? Cafe?
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 It's my southern twang coming out. The cafe.
Really?
Yeah.
The cafe? No, it was
going
really
down to
funny.
the cafe.
Sorry. No, it wasn't really funny. It was normal, and I should have realized that there are different ways to say words.
Isaac, it's probably not, bro. I probably am just like.
It sounded like it didn't sound Southern. It sounded like a fancy way of saying it. Like, oh, I've just been to the cafe.
The cafe. Oh,
and
okay.
I've just sampled a bit of the champagne.
Champagne. Yeah, I don't know.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
They do that a couple times. Like, there are definitely some logical like leaps at times in the screenplay where it's like, oh, you did that just to like make it a little bit more exciting. And I feel like that's just kind of like Bad Robot Productions' like influence on Matt Reeves, is that he puts a lot of mystery box like situations into the movie to make things seem more intriguing. And then you know, like, oh, actually, it's not like that.
Yeah, and it's like, where do we go from here? It's like, next scene, we'll just fix it. It's like,
I don't know. I mean, it happens a couple times, but, like, I don't care.
Right, okay.
I don't know. Like, I guess it's just, like, this is why I wouldn't give this movie, like, 5 out of 5 stars. Is, like, I recognize its flaws, but when I'm watching it, I'm having such a great time that I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like The Dark Knight. Like, that movie is... you know, a 5 out of 5 watching experience, but when I watch it, like, I definitely see like where critics are coming from when they like overanalyze it. It's just like, I think what you're willing to leave at the door with these like movies, and with Batman, I'm willing to leave a lot forgiven if the whole is like a grand old good time. And I feel like that happened here, and I mean. I all that to say is I enjoy the story of this movie a lot, despite the screenplay faults. But what else?
Well, there was really only one other thing that really bothered me. Like, obviously, I'm going to watch it again, especially when it comes to HBO Max. You bet your ass, I'll be doing a second rewatch.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that completely was just an eye rolling moment. That the Joker reveal. It's not good. It doesn't feel like Matt Reeves was directing that scene. And I feel like Warner Brothers... I read something where Matt Reeves explained the scene, and what he meant by that scene, I understand. I'd be like, oh, okay. But one, they chose the Joker as the villain, which I don't want to see an iteration of Joker in his movies. Batman has many other interesting villains. We've seen the Joker too many times. I don't want to see the Joker. Two... that fucking laugh, just like, to me, it's not iconic anymore. To me, it's annoying, and it signals cringe immediately. And just the fact that the Joker just is in the movie makes no sense to me. I wish they wouldn't have done that. The camera angles they chose, I'm like, Matt Reeves did not direct this scene. There's no way he directed that portion. It just did not feel like the rest of the movie. That at that moment, I was like, oh, I forgot that we're in Warner Brothers extended universe. Like,
we're not in the extended universe, but yeah, for sure.
But
like, it did feel a little like, oh, this is like they want you to put Joker in your trilogy because of course. I watched the interview though where he was talking about why the Joker's in the movie, and there's actually like another scene they filmed in the middle of the movie where Batman was gonna go, and it was gonna be like a Killing Joke situation. Yeah, where like he goes to Arkham and he has to get in the head of Riddler, and so he asks Joker, like Hannibal Lecter style, like what he's thinking. But like the Joker's not supposed to be the fully formed Joker yet either. Kind of like how Penguin's not fully formed, or Catwoman's not fully formed. You know, everyone in this world's becoming what they will be. But like, it doesn't sound like he wants Joker to be like a main driver in these movies. Yeah. He just wants the character to exist in the world because Batman kind of hinges on the Joker's existence. And if he makes a big deal out of it in a sequel, I feel like there's pressure to make him the main villain. So I actually do like that they put him in there just to like show that he's there, and that he's, you know, of course, trying to make things happen with other villains. But I think that we will see someone like Hush or like fucking other villains take the main seat, because I think Matt Reeves is more interested in doing new storylines. So I'm not too bugged by the Joker scene. I definitely, when I was watching it, I was worried, and I will give you that the laugh does not really do it for me anymore. And I don't think a lot of people are going to walk out of that scene and think like, oh, hype It's just more like I definitely am of the mind that I need to defend its inclusion because it's not actually all that cool.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I felt the movie could have done without it. If they'd cut that scene, it
wouldn't have changed shit.
It wouldn't have changed shit, yeah.
Matt Reeves did explain, though, that, like, Catwoman says something about, like, why she wants to leave. Like, it's just going to get worse.
Right.
And, like, Matt Reeves was like, here's proof.
Yeah, and I like that line of thinking. I just don't think it...
it's not been executed very well.
Yeah.
And we're just too close to Joaquin Phoenix Joker cringe that I just really don't want to see that character right now.
Same. I am so happy that Matt Reeves is thinking about these things, though. He really does. It feels like they all sat down and read a shit ton of Batman comics and looked at Batman like lore and stuff, and it's interesting. I like it a lot.
He listed his influences. I mean, I've definitely started reading some of those comics, and I'm like, wow, you're a fan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh fuck. Anything else to add?
The score.
Oh, is amazing. Fuck yes.
Yeah, like
best use of Nirvana as well.
Yeah, amazing Nirvana song. Like that was definitely a deep cut Nirvana song before this movie. So congratulations, it's a TikTok trending song now. That Kurt Cobain's so happy. But yeah, the score in this film, Batman's theme especially, really took me by surprise with just how enveloped I was in it, and I'm a hoe for a good leitmotif, and just when those four notes would come, bom, 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 bom. It's like, oh fuck! But the whole score was amazing. All of the diegetic music, like for once, you're in a club and it sounds appropriate. It sounds like shit they would be playing in an actually popular club.
Right.
The all of that shit was awesome. I'm really enveloped with the score of this movie, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. Or the cinematography. I actually quite like the cinematography, despite the lens effect that you're mentioning. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and Michael Giacchino, man, he's a god. God tier composer. This is just probably my favorite superhero movie to come out in a long time. It's good. It definitely beats out most of the MCU for me. I mean, not to compare those two because they're not meant to be compared, but I just enjoy a good standalone superhero movie. I do too. And I love where this is going. Give me some more. Give me some more. I want Hush in the next movie. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. But yeah, loved it. Tell us what you think in the comments below or on Twitter. We'll have some fun little polls running maybe about it. And that was our show. Thank you so much for tuning in this hour to hear our critics talk about their spoiler review of the Batman. And tune in next week to hear Sophie's choice. Well, they'll go ahead and decide what she should have picked. They're gonna do that now. They're gonna be objective. An in-depth analysis of Sophie's choice next episode. And decide if her choice was correct. Sophie's choice, : well, anyway, here's what I would have done. Nice. That's what we're